Yep, I got one too. What's going on, my friends? It's your old pal SeanPierceJohnson here, and welcome back to the channel, where today we are going to be taking a listen to and look at the Fender Mustang Micro headphone amplifier. Now, I kind of know what you're thinking out there. There's already been a ton of videos about this out already, but what can I say? It's the Fender marketing machine coming to ruin your YouTube feed again! But let's just take a deep breath, sit back and relax for a second, because I think I can add a little something to the discussion about this new little headphone amplifier. The Mustang Micro is a stripped down and very simple headphone amplifier that utilizes Fender's Mustang DSP processing to get you all kinds of great guitar tones on the fly and on the go. This little guy packs 12 different amplifier models into it, including deluxe and twin reverb models, as well as more modern Fender stuff like the BASSBREAKER series, which is actually one of my favorite sounds in this little guy. But it also incorporates some boutique models, stuff like Friedman and Bogner, basically amplifiers that the dudes at Fender really like and wanted to interpret in the Mustang Micro. It also houses 12 different effects and effects combinations for you to pair with those amplifier models however you see fit. The giant knob in the center is an overall master volume. Put your headphones on, turn this thing up, boom, you've got volume. On the side, we have 4 different switches: amp, EQ, effects, and modify. Amp cycles through the amplifier models in the Mustang Micro. The EQ adjusts EQ and tone of your tone, from bright to dark, dark to bright, and back again. Effects cycles through the different effects models that are in the Mustang Micro, and modify changes a specific parameter of each effect and effect combination depending on what you have selected. So yeah, although it's not a tweaker's delight headphone amplifier, you have more than enough to get by with the Mustang Micro. On the opposite side of the enclosure from the tone switches, you have the on and off switch, but it's also the Bluetooth pairing switch. That's right, you can hook this thing up to your phone or tablet or really any Bluetooth device that you can think of, and you can play back backing tracks, metronome, anything that you can really think of to play along in your headphones, which I think is pretty darn awesome. You have your 1/4-inch instrument plug right here at the top on a swivel base that you can pretty much plug into just about any guitar that you have. I personally have found no problem plugging into Strats and Telecasters, but I've even managed to fit it on my Ormsby SX GTR, which has a very uniquely placed output jack. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, how exactly am I gonna know what I have dialed in on the Mustang Micro? Well, above each of the tone switches, that's what I've decided to call these things, is an LED that cycles through different colors. This gives you a little visual cue of what amp or effect or where your tone and modify settings are. But you might be thinking to yourself, well, how am I gonna know what's what? Well, included in the package, Fender, it has this little business card size pamphlet that gives you a rundown of the amp models and the effects models, as well as what the modify control is doing on those effects. On the bottom of the Mustang Micro, we have our headphone input so that we can, hear what's going on inside this thing, and the USB input so that we can charge it. And that's pretty much all you need to know, so let's actually hear this thing. I'm gonna show you a few of my favorite tones rather than rifling through every single amplifier model, because trust me when I say there are ones in here that I really, really love, but there's one sound in particular that I just consider to be hot garbage. Yeah, that Uber sound is not really something that I enjoy all that much. I know the amp it's modeling, and I've played that amplifier, but this model just seems to fall ever so slightly short of the real deal, or even a good approximation of it. Sorry, Fender, I gotta be honest about this. Now, in the weeks since I've had the Mustang Micro, I've really found the Bluetooth capability to be a huge selling point for me. And I even feel like I've gotten a sense of the true desire and the true intent of Fender's input and design into the Mustang Micro. A few weeks ago, I found myself low on time and ability to practice in my home studio for an upcoming praise and worship gig. I had to drive my wife to a doctor's appointment over an hour's drive away, and the round trip was gonna easily be 3.5 to 4 hours depending on that famous Southern California traffic. So I threw the Mustang Micro in a gig bag with my Les Paul with the Bigsby on it, the charts that I would need for the songs, and just went up and drove. Once we got to the doctor's office, I situated myself in the parking lot, pulled out the guitar, plugged in the Mustang Micro, slapped on some headphones, paired up Bluetooth with my phone, and started playing along to the songs that I would be playing that Sunday morning. This was incredibly handy for me because I was having a really hard time coming up with lead guitar parts for the songs. I didn't have much to go along in the charts, and I was just kind of making it up as I went along. But having that extra 45 minutes to 1 hour's worth of practice that day really helped me refine some of the parts that I was coming up with. And even after that, just plugging this thing into any guitar in my collection, sitting on the couch and practicing along with a backing track and headphones, rather than plugging into a giant amplifier rig or having to turn up my studio monitors really loud. This has been very, very handy in order to keep up my, shredability, if that's even a word. And so, with all that said, how exactly do I feel about the Mustang Micro? At $100, this thing is really hard to beat in terms of headphone amplifiers. A lot of the headphone amplifiers I've played in the past have just been meh at best. This thing has a ton of great clean and crunch tones. I feel like the only shortcoming is really in its high gain selection. Even on the models that I feel are better than the others, there's still a little bit of a tweak in them that needs to be made. The one downfall that I can say about the LED indicators is that they do shut off automatically. I think it takes about 5 to 10 seconds, somewhere in there, from when you stop pressing on the tone switches. But really, that just helps save some battery so that this thing can be played for hours on end. Now, there is one last caveat I need to mention about my experience with the Mustang Micro, and it all comes down to headphone choice. Now, because I work here in my home studio and I've worked in a studio environment for a very, very long time, I have tons of pairs of headphones. Everything from cheap Apple earbuds to expensive ultrasounds, and even those new Orange Crest Edition headphones, which is what I predominantly plug in when I'm playing with the Mustang Micro. But your headphone choice is really going to dictate your experience with the Mustang Micro. Although it's fairly consistent across the board, I do find that earbuds tend to lend a sort of rolled off low end to the sound, maybe even making things sound a little bit more honky. And if you plug in anything like a pair of Beats, those have a fairly pronounced low end built into their internal EQ. So you might be getting an overload on certain models. If you can find a good, solid, transparent sounding pair of headphones, that is going to be your best bet when it comes to experiencing the Mustang Micro. So if you're in need of something to practice with either late at night or on the go that doesn't cost a whole lot of money, gives you some great sounds, not just in the amplifiers, but also in the effects, and allows you to practice along to a built-in metronome on your smartphone or backing tracks that you might find here on YouTube, the Mustang Micro is definitely worth a look. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Mustang Micro and appreciated my perspective. If you have any other questions about it, or if you want to let me know your thoughts on this video, please let me know what they are in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, give it a thumbs up, share a link to it with a guitar playing friend of yours, and of course, the best way to support the channel, clicking the subscribe button and ringing the notification bell so you never miss any videos on the channel. Thanks so much for spending part of your day with me, everybody. I hope you had a good one, and until next time, my friends, I'm SeanPierceJohnson, wishing you all out there great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless. I'll see you in the future.